Right now, someone lonelier than you is winning. Why? Because they refuse to settle. They walk alone while others compromise their dreams for comfort. They build empires while others build excuses about needing someone to complete them, and the world fears them. Meanwhile, you apologize for being single, you swipe desperately, you lower your standards because society told you that a man without a woman is incomplete, that solitude is failure, that being alone means being broken. But here's what they don't want you to know. Being single isn't your weakness, it's your weapon. And if you don't wield it, you'll spend your life as someone else's accessory. Nietzsche saw this over a century ago. The herd needs you coupled, domesticated, predictable. They need you splitting your focus, your resources, your power. Because a man who belongs only to himself, that's the most dangerous man alive. This video will not comfort you. It will not tell you that someone special is coming. It will do something far more valuable. It will show you how to become so complete alone that others become optional, not necessary. Watch closely, because from here on, your desperation will be replaced with selection. Your neediness will be replaced with power. You weren't born desperate for a relationship. You were programmed that way. From childhood, you were fed the script. Find someone, settle down, reproduce, repeat. Movies, music, family, friends, all pushing the same narrative. Single equals incomplete. Alone equals failure. Independence equals selfishness. But here's what Nietzsche understood about the herd mentality. They need you weak, dependent, predictable. A single man is a wild card. He can't be controlled through emotional blackmail. He can't be manipulated through relationship drama. He can't be cornered with ultimatums about marriage, kids, or commitment. The herd fears the man who says, "I don't need anyone," because that man can walk away from anything. Jobs, cities, toxic people, social expectations. He's ungovernable, and ungovernable men rewrite the rules. That voice in your head that says you're incomplete without someone, that's not your voice. That's the collective, the mass, the herd speaking through you. They trained you to believe that solitude is punishment instead of power, that independence is loneliness instead of liberation. But here's the Nietzschean truth. The strongest men in history were dangerously single, not because they couldn't get women, but because they refused to sacrifice their mission for momentary comfort. They understood something the masses never will. Power comes from within, not from without. Your transformation begins with killing that programmed voice, the one that apologizes for eating dinner alone, the one that feels shame at weddings, the one that thinks you're broken because you don't have someone's validation. You're not broken, you're free. And freedom terrifies the herd because it exposes how trapped they really are. Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, the man who creates his own values, who refuses to live by society's default programming, and nothing exposes your programming more than your relationship to being single. Most men follow the script blindly. Graduate, get a job, find a girlfriend, move in together, get married, have kids, buy a house, work until you die. It's the assembly line of human existence. Safe, predictable, ordinary. But the Übermensch asks a different question. What if I don't? What if I don't need someone else's approval to feel worthy? What if I don't need to split my resources, my time, my focus? What if I build something so powerful that relationships become a luxury, not a necessity? The dangerous truth is this. Being single is the ultimate act of self-ownership. You wake up and answer to no one. Your time is yours. Your money is yours. Your decisions are yours. Your dreams aren't compromised by someone else's limitations, insecurities, or different timeline. While other men negotiate for permission to pursue their goals, you simply pursue them. While they explain why they can't take risks because of responsibilities, You take calculated risks because you only have yourself to consider. This isn't about being anti-relationship, but about being pro-choice. The choice to be with someone because you want to, not because you need to. The choice to walk away when something doesn't serve you. The choice to say no to mediocrity disguised as love. The Ubermensch doesn't need external validation to know his worth. He doesn't need someone else to feel complete. He doesn't need to be chosen because he already chose himself. And once you truly choose yourself, everything changes. You stop auditioning for people's affection. You stop compromising your standards. You stop accepting scraps of attention from people who should be grateful for yours. You become the prize, not the pursuer, and that's when you become truly dangerous. Let's talk numbers, because freedom isn't just philosophical, it's practical. The average married man spends 70% more on living expenses. Housing, food, entertainment, gifts, vacations. Everything doubles or triples when you're supporting two people's lifestyle. Meanwhile, the single man banks that difference, invests it, or uses it to build something that actually appreciates in value. While married men negotiate household budgets, single men build war chests. While they split resources, you concentrate yours. While they compromise on financial decisions, you make strategic ones based purely on logic and long-term gain. Time is even more valuable than money. The average relationship requires 20 to 30 hours per week of maintenance. Dates, conversations, emotional labor, social obligations, family events. That's over 1,000 hours per year that could be spent on skill development, business building, or strategic networking. Nietzsche understood this. He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying. You can't build an empire while constantly explaining your decisions to someone else. You can't take massive action while worried about how it affects your partner's comfort zone. This is the lazy, ambitious principle in action. Single men can make high-leverage moves that married men can't. They can relocate for opportunities. They can work 80-hour weeks when building something. They can say yes to the uncomfortable growth that relationships often resist, while others are splitting focus between maintaining relationships and building futures. You can put 100% of your energy into becoming undeniable. And once you're undeniable, everything else, including the right relationships, comes from a position of strength, not desperation. The economics are simple. Being single isn't costing you anything. It's saving you everything. Here's what terrifies people about the truly single man. They can't predict you. They can't control you. They can't manipulate you. Married men are predictable. They have obligations, schedules, people to consider. You can count on them to choose safety over opportunity, comfort over growth, peace over progress. They're manageable because they're accountable to someone else's fears. But the single man, he's a wild card. He can disappear for months to build something. He can turn down social obligations because he has bigger priorities. He can walk away from toxic situations without worrying about how it affects someone else. He can pivot, evolve, transform without needing anyone's permission. This unpredictability isn't chaos, it's strategic flexibility. While others are locked into patterns, you're adapting to opportunities. While they're explaining why they can't change, you're already different. Employers know single men are more mobile, more flexible, more willing to take on challenging assignments. Entrepreneurs know single men can take bigger risks and move faster. Even friends and family know that the single man can't be guilt-tripped or emotionally manipulated as easily. This makes you valuable in ways married men can never be. You're the one they call when something needs to get done quickly, quietly, effectively. You're the one who can make moves that others can't. You're the asset that appreciates while others depreciate. Nietzsche called this becoming who you are, not who someone else needs you to be, not who society expects you to be, but who you actually are when stripped of all external pressures and expectations. And who you are when truly free is dangerous. Nietzsche identified two types of morality: master morality and slave morality. And nothing exposes slave morality more than the modern obsession with settling down. Slave morality says, I need someone to validate my existence. Master morality says, I validate my own existence. Slave morality says, I should compromise my dreams to make someone else comfortable. Master morality says, my dreams are non-negotiable. Slave morality says, a good man sacrifices his potential for love. Master morality says, a powerful man becomes so valuable that love finds him. The entire culture of relationships is built on slave morality. You're told to work on the relationship even when it's draining you. You're told to compromise even when it means abandoning your mission. You're told to put family first even when your family doesn't understand your vision. But here's what they're really saying. Become smaller so others feel bigger. Become weaker so others feel stronger. Become less so others feel like more. The dangerously single man rejects this entirely. He operates from master morality. He doesn't settle down. He rises up. And if someone wants to join that ascent, they better be climbing at his pace or faster. This isn't arrogance. This is self-preservation. Because the moment you start living by slave morality in relationships, you stop being the man who attracted them in the first place. You become manageable, predictable, safe, and safety is the death of attraction. The master creates values. The slave inherits them. So create your own relationship values. Define what partnership means to you, not what society tells you it should mean. And if the world calls you selfish for refusing to shrink, remember, Nietzsche said the highest form of love is self-love, because you can't give what you don't have. Here's what no one tells you about relationships. They're psychological battlegrounds where most men lose themselves. The moment you couple up, the tests begin, not from your partner necessarily, but from the world around you. Society immediately starts measuring you by different standards. Are you a good boyfriend? Are you marriage material? Are you providing enough? Are you committed enough? Suddenly, your worth isn't measured by your achievements, your growth, or your potential. It's measured by how well you perform the role of partner, and that role has been designed to domesticate you. You start making decisions based on what's good for the relationship instead of what's good for your mission. You turn down opportunities because they might create stress. You avoid risks because they might affect stability. You stop growing because growth requires change, and change threatens the comfort zone you built together. This is how strong men become mediocre, not through failure, but through successful domestication. The dangerously single man avoids this trap entirely. His decisions are based on one criterion. Does this move me closer to my goals or further away? No committee meetings, no negotiations, no compromising his vision to manage someone else's insecurities. While coupled men are explaining why they can't travel for that business opportunity, you're on the plane. While they're negotiating for permission to take financial risks, you're already executing. While they're managing relationship drama, you're building the empire that makes drama irrelevant. I'm not talking about being antisocial. This is about being psychologically sovereign. Your mind belongs to you. Your decisions belong to you. Your future belongs to you. And until someone proves they can enhance all three instead of limiting them, you remain gloriously, strategically, dangerously single. Nietzsche spoke of creative destruction, the process of breaking down old systems to build something better. Your singleness is creative destruction in action. While others are maintaining relationships, you're destroying limiting beliefs. While they're preserving comfort zones, you're demolishing them. While they're keeping the peace, you're starting wars against mediocrity. Relationships often become museums of who you used to be. Your partner falls in love with version 1.0 of you, then resists every upgrade. They want consistency, but growth requires change. They want security, but breakthrough requires risk. They want you to stay the same person they fell for, but that person was just the beginning. The single man has no such constraints. He can reinvent himself completely without needing anyone's permission. He can abandon old identities, develop new skills, chase different dreams, become someone entirely different, because he answers to no one but the vision he's building. This is why the most powerful transformations happen in solitude. You can't become who you're meant to be while explaining every change to someone who loved who you were. The dangerously single man uses this freedom ruthlessly. He experiments with different versions of himself. He tests new strategies. He fails without having to comfort someone else about the failure. He succeeds without having to share the credit. He becomes a laboratory of one, optimizing for greatness. And when he finally does choose partnership, he enters it as version 10.0 of himself, refined, tested, powerful. Not as a work in progress who needs someone to complete him, but as a completed work who might choose to collaborate with another completed work. That's the difference between building a relationship from scarcity versus building one from abundance. Scarcity relationships are about filling gaps. Abundance relationships are about multiplying strengths. The weak man collects relationships. The strong man curates them. Being dangerously single doesn't mean being antisocial. It means being selective. You don't need constant companionship, so you only accept exceptional companionship. You don't need emotional validation, so you only engage with people who challenge you intellectually. This is Nietzschean friendship. Connections that sharpen you, not drain you. Relationships that elevate your thinking, not lower your standards. People who inspire you to become more, not enable you to stay the same. When you're not desperate for connection, you attract higher quality connections. People respect what they can't easily access. They value what they had to earn. They remember what they couldn't manipulate or control. The single man can afford to be ruthlessly selective because he doesn't need anyone. He can cut ties without drama. He can maintain boundaries without explanation. He can choose his associations based on mutual value, not mutual need. This creates a network of strength, not weakness. Instead of surrounding yourself with people who need you to stay small so they feel better about themselves, you connect with people who expect excellence and deliver it themselves. While others build relationships based on comfort and familiarity, you build them based on growth and potential. While they maintain connections out of obligation or fear of loneliness, you maintain them because they make you better. This is how legends build circles of power. Not through neediness, but through selection. Not through availability, but through standards. Not through quantity, but through quality. And when you do choose to be in a romantic relationship, you enter it from this position of selective power, not desperate need. Solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every great achievement in history was forged in solitude. Every breakthrough idea, every revolutionary concept, every work of art that changed the world, created by someone who could sit alone with their thoughts and build something from nothing. The crowd cannot think clearly. The herd cannot create authentically. Original thought requires original space, and that space is solitude. While others are filling every moment with noise, distraction, and social maintenance, you're developing the rarest skill in the modern world. The ability to be alone with yourself without discomfort, to sit in silence without reaching for your phone, to think without needing external input, to create without needing immediate validation. This is where real strength is built. Not in the gym, though that matters. Not in social situations, though those have value. But in the quiet moments when it's just you, your thoughts, and your potential. Nietzsche spent years in solitude, developing the ideas that would reshape philosophy. Tesla worked alone for decades, creating inventions that changed the world. Every great man has periods of strategic isolation where he builds what others can't see yet. Your solitude is your laboratory. It's where you experiment with ideas, where you develop skills, where you plan moves, where you become the person you're meant to be without interference from people who want you to stay who you've always been. When you master solitude, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you become unmasterable by others. You become the kind of man who doesn't need anyone, which paradoxically makes everyone want to be around you. Let's address the elephant in the room: biology. Society loves to weaponize your biological drives against your strategic thinking. You need to reproduce. Your biological clock is ticking. It's natural to want a family. But here's what they don't tell you. Biology is a servant, not a master. And the most powerful men in history understood how to channel biological energy into achievement rather than letting it channel them into average lives. Your sexual energy, your need for connection, your drive to create. These are forces that can be redirected toward building something magnificent. The same energy that creates children can create empires. The same drive that seeks to impress potential partners can be used to impress the entire world with your achievements. Nietzsche understood this transmutation of energy. He called it sublimation, taking base desires and elevating them into higher pursuits. Instead of scattering your sexual energy across multiple relationships or burning it out in one consuming partnership, you concentrate it into creative force. While other men are exhausting themselves trying to maintain relationships, you're using that same energy to maintain focus. While they're channeling their drive into impressing one person, you're channeling it into becoming impressive to everyone. This doesn't mean suppressing your biology. This means directing it strategically. You're not avoiding relationships because you fear them. You're avoiding them because you have something more important to build first. And once you've built it, you can choose relationships from a position of strength, not biological desperation. The dangerously single man has mastered his biology instead of being mastered by it. He doesn't make life decisions with his hormones. He makes them with his vision. And that makes him infinitely more powerful than men who let their biological drives dictate their strategic choices. Here's something profound about being truly single. You become a mirror that reflects everyone else's relationship insecurities. When you're genuinely content alone, it exposes how desperate others are for external validation. When you're building something meaningful in solitude, it highlights how empty their coupled activities really are. When you're growing rapidly without a partner, it reveals how much their relationships are actually holding them back. People become uncomfortable around the truly independent man, not because he's antisocial, but because his independence challenges their dependencies. His self-sufficiency makes their neediness obvious. His purposeful solitude makes their social obligations look like distractions. Married friends will try to convince you that you're missing out. But watch their behavior, not their words. They'll live vicariously through your freedom. They'll envy your spontaneity. They'll wish they could make the decisions you're making. They'll complain about the very relationships they're trying to sell you on. Single women will tell you that you just haven't found the right person yet. But observe their actions, not their statements. They're drawn to your independence even as they verbally attack it. They're attracted to what they claim is your flaw. They want to be the exception to your rule of solitude. This is the power of the mirror effect. Your independence doesn't just benefit you, it exposes the truth about everyone else's situation. And truth makes people uncomfortable. They'd rather you join them in compromise than force them to confront what they've given up. But the dangerously single man doesn't dim his light to make others comfortable. He becomes brighter, forcing everyone around him to either step up or step back. He doesn't apologize for his independence. He weaponizes it. Because once you realize that your singleness makes other people question their choices, you understand that you're not the one with the problem. You're the one with the solution they're too afraid to consider. Here's the final transformation. When you master being dangerously single, relationships become strategic choices, not emotional necessities. You don't date to fill a void because there is no void. You don't seek companionship to avoid loneliness because you've made friends with solitude. You don't look for someone to complete you because you're already complete. You consider relationships the way a CEO considers partnerships. What value do they bring? Do they accelerate your mission or slow it down? Do they inspire you to become more or enable you to become less? Do they respect your autonomy or try to diminish it? This isn't cold or calculated, it's strategic, because the right relationship should make both people more powerful, not less. It should be two complete individuals choosing to build something together, not two incomplete halves trying to make a whole. When you approach relationships from this position, everything changes. You're not auditioning for approval. You're not compromising your standards. You're not accepting less than what you deserve because you know your worth isn't dependent on being chosen. You become the selector, not the selected. You become the prize, not the pursuer. You become the one who sets standards instead of the one who meets them. And if someone can't meet your standards, you don't lower them. You don't make excuses. You don't try to change them. You simply remain single and continue building your empire. Because being dangerously single means understanding that you're never settling, only selecting. And until the right person proves they can add value to your already powerful life, you continue to build that life alone. That's not bitterness. That's strategy. That's not loneliness. That's strength. That's not failure. That's power. So no, this wasn't just about being single. This was about being ungovernable, mentally, emotionally, financially. You are not here to complete someone else's life. You are here to build your own empire, to set your own rules, to live by your own code. Like this video if you're done settling. Subscribe if you're ready to become the kind of man they can't control, can't predict, and can never domesticate. Because this isn't relationship advice. This is a declaration of independence. And you just became dangerously free